Sunday night flight with Kazaki Flyer 66. At least my chores are all done this weekend and I can actually do a stream. Yay! Well, welcome to, let's see if I can read this right. Off plowing EDQM. Echo, Delta, Quebec, uh, Mike. M always confuses me phonetically, so. But EDQM is where we're at tonight. As you can see, Colonel Fork has decided to join us tonight. I wish I had his aircraft. He's in a Norseman. Excellent. It should go well. We're taking the old reliable AN2 out tonight. Just as a little glimpse inside the cockpit here. As you can see, I went out and I bought a translator. And luckily, the guy was free. So now we can actually read how to read what each instrument is, what each switch does. Now, first thing we want to do is we're going to turn the battery on. There's the battery. Alternator on. Turn this whole bank of switches on. And the same for the top bank. We want oil shutter power and cowl flaps on. Cabin lights on. Pitot heat on. Other lights on. Okay, we want to go over here and open the fuel valve. That's left. We want both fuel tanks on. We don't have to turn any of those switches on, luckily. Cut the fuel off to get it to start. Get our external lights on here. The other side of the stick. Beacons, nav lights, and taxi lights. Go back on here. Well, there's another one of those, huh? The right mouse here. No, that didn't work. Well, at least they're blocked the guy. He can't come in again. At least under that name. Terrific. Just make sure our controls are working here. Mixture working. It's opposite. How to do things backwards. Pitch at least is normal, and the throttle is normal. before the battery goes dead, let's get our magnetos on here. That's 1, magneto 2. Come on, and both. What we want to do is we want to engage the flywheel. And the starter. And here in a second, wait for it. I'm going to wind up. Reaches the critical spot. I'm going to kick it over. Terrific. Now it wants to play hooky. Let's try this again. I think we've got contact this time. The RPM indicator is moving at least. It's still in acrylic, but I can understand it. Like over here, you have your RPMs. Over here, you've got your manifold. On the other side, your stick down here. Let's get rid of here. Get rid of that so we can see it. We've got our rate of climb indicator, our altimeter. By the way, that's in meters, not feet. Bless our European friends, they are metric. Okay, now we've got the engine running. We want to reach over here and turn our avionics on. That's this yellow button right here. Yeah, that turns the power on to our avionics. And because we're just renting it, we're going to activate our cell phone and put a clamp on it, hold it up to and put it on the window over here. Because, well, it is Europe and it is the winter time, we're not going to worry too much about turning the fans on, but we can if we need to. See, they're right down here. We've got heaters, fans. It says left fan. Get that switch. Look what you get your fan. Having a translator really helps. We're going to turn the fan back off. Don't quite need it here in the winter time. Guess the next thing to do is actually get in the air. Got a ways to go tonight. When I flew this with Colonel Fork earlier, we found the world's biggest co-op. Colonel Fork is such a very venerable, nice, beautiful, beautiful. I can't say it with a straight face. I'm sorry. It's a DH2C. We'll just call it the B for short. Ukrainians are very proud of their manufacturing facilities. They're building these Anatov 2s. Get back inside here. See if we need to push back a little bit. I think we do. These parking brake and put her in reverse a minute. Back up a few feet. Ooh, there's an interesting scenery effect. The light poles are flickering. That should give us enough room to turn around here. Keep that rudder kicked over while we turn. And the brake held. Because our runway exit's right up here on our right. Just taxi right out here to the runway. That's kind of handy. Now, when I checked the wind earlier, this was favorable. Let's check it again. See, we may have to back taxi all the way to the other end of the runway. Let's hope not. 150 at 8 knots. I think we're good here. Stop creeping forward here. Here we go. Get our power coming in. Internal forks behind us on the runway. Good to go. Give her some throttle here. And some rudder as we go trot across the grass. It don't take much to get it airborne. This is a rugged aircraft. Down trim on it. Start our turn to the right here. Get on our flight path, on our magenta line. We're in the same business, buddy. We're just several generations apart. Back on our RPMs a bit. Get us into the green here. Coming back by our airport. Getting blinded by the pond. Do want to climb. this first little, it's only 40 miles to our first waypoint. Now we can really take a look at the East German countryside as we head into Poland. I think this is beautiful country here. Nice rolling hills. See if we can let auto take care of things for us for a few minutes here. Okay, we're high enough. Lock the GPS, and then we'll try the nav here. Hey, I think it's got it. Good boy. The AN2 is dependable. It is an ugly airplane. But it is dependable. It is rugged. It is stall capable. And it can carry several passengers in relative ease across the European terrain. It doesn't go very high and it doesn't go very fast, but it will get you there. You just got to watch the ground so it doesn't come up to swat us. Colonel Fork is back behind us in his beeve, and another defendable aircraft. They're about the same age, although I think the Antonov is a little bit older. As long as our flight path doesn't take us into the path of these giant windmills and swat us out of the air. Got a little bit of a crosswind, but not too bad. Keep our needles right in the green here. We're not going to push our engine today. Maybe renting the aircraft, but there's no reason to kill it. We'll get where we're going. If that means we have to skip a couple of airports or go direct, we'll get there. But mostly we're just going to look at the beautiful scenery and admire our aircraft. And I'm impressed with this section of woods. You can't tell me this section of woods ain't full of deer and other small game, rabbits, and whatever else is common to the European continent. This place is going to have it. I wish my AccuSeason worked with my add-on slinker. You get a feel of what a what this area looks like without the leaves on. It's like the minute I moved everything over to the add-ons linker, that's the moment last August that it froze in time. No matter, it says it updates every night, but I never see any change in the scenery. I've even moved it to a different folder. Still doesn't matter. This is the kind of value to expect to go to the local pub and have a really nice, some chick named Heidi bring you beer. Did that at a Hooters once upon a time. The only time I've ever been to a Hooters. Of course, that was back then. There wasn't one in North Alabama. I had to travel all the way to Denver to go see one. What's nice is all these beautiful fields. They're plenty long to land in if something goes wrong. As long as you can generate just a little bit of lift, you're good to go. Like that field right down there is plenty long enough. Call for the pickup truck full of parts and fix the engine and get back in the air and get everybody on the way this same afternoon. Getting pretty hilly. 24 miles to our first stop inside of Poland. We're going to wait until we run low on fuel before we grab a stop. They should be close enough that we can grab fuel at each stop that's along our way. Yeah, look up there and I'm looking at my ETE for destination. It says 3 hours. It's like, well, that ain't how I planned it. Of course, I flew it the first time in a Goose, which is just a little faster than this. Not much faster, but faster. You give this thing rental power, it'll almost go as fast. We don't even have a stewardess on this flight. The poor pilot has to do everything. Unload the luggage. Offer the people soft drinks. And maybe a couple of sacks of peanuts. Although maybe considering all this forest, walnuts might be better in order. Yeah, that'll put it right on the borderline. And it's still 18 miles to our first airport. Yeah. The thing is, I really want to show off the way Budapest now looks. We may stop at one of these little airports along the way and grab a quicker aircraft. I love the Anatov, and I love the fact that I've got an English translation for most of my panels and instruments now. It does make it a lot more fun. This is a pretty industrialized little valley here. Hills under us, all the way across to the hills on the other side. This is beautiful country. This would be great country depending on how the roads are. If you could find a good road, this would be a great country to rent a Ferrari and just say, I'm gone for the weekend and I'll be back in a couple of days. Just go right about. There's an airport up there. We're not seeing a light yet. This is 13 miles ahead. It ain't going to be down in the valley there. Lots of big open farm fields, though. Ooh, scenery artifact. Hello. And Microsoft said they fixed all these. I am curious to see why it made a scenery spike out of this piece of terrain. Looks like a big quarry. I mean, a big quarry. Maybe even an open pit mine. Okay, there's water up on the top of those artifacts. Who knows? It might be a pit mine and they may have dug around it. I've seen the critters that dig around in these places. Those are big vehicles. We think we've got some big trucks in the western United States. They're nothing compared to what the Germans and the Poles have for strip mining. They dig it up and then they put it back. After they get the goodies out. let's say 8 miles to go, it's going to be in the next valley. Much as I love my little Anatov here, I think I'm going to have to grab a Mixmaster. I'd love to use a Wildcat, but since they broke the multiplayer functions in the Wildcat, I'm getting to hear about a patch for it. Of course, that would be typical. I'd be the last to know about a patch. Although, I do like this airplane for being able to look at the scenery around us. Beautiful scenery. And that's typical. Radar says he's there. But, of course, there he is, up there. A little bit higher than we are. Ooh, look at those valleys. That's a heck of a river valley. Beautiful. Sunlight off the water down there. Makes you want to get a boat out. And there's the impoundment, the dam that's holding the water back. Probably a nice little hydroelectric plant in there. This is a great place for an impoundment. Oh, there's the airport. Make our change. Now's the time to do it. Pull the throttles back. Get this out of the way. We'll make a low pass and chase the cows off the runway. That's nice. There's somebody's little castle next to the airport. And the sock says the wind's coming from the other direction. So, actually, it's coming from this direction, or coming. We're headed into it now. We're going to have to go around. Now let's get out. We don't waste too much time making this landing. Couple of notches of flaps as we go around this little town on the top of the hill. Kind of a steep approach here. There's the castle. There's the fence. There's the runway. We'll go a little long as we straighten her out here. one short final. Just let her settle. It's a long runway. There, we're down. Still on two wheels. Start getting some breakage in here. Don't want to add too much. We don't want to burn up the brakes. And there's the tail wheel down. Raise the flaps up. And taxi into the grass. I've actually got a taxiway over here. We'll go get on the taxiway. No reason to chop the grass up. This at least looks mowed recently. We'll do the proper thing and taxi back here. Now that is a... What the... How is a modern looking building like that way out here in the middle of the boonies? There must be a museum here. Look at how modern that tower looks. Beautiful. Got hangars. Must get a lot of medium-sized aircraft here. They've got the ladders. I am curious about the museum. Let's get our brakes set here so we don't go wandering off. There's Colonel Fortin taxiing in here. Hey, look at this. Look at this. They've got an ice cream cone. No ice cream, but they've got the ice cream cone. And that's a beautifully designed little building there. Got handicap parking. They've got everything. I wonder if they've got the ultimate. Do they have a Skoda? Ooh. Not being familiar with Skodas, other than what I see TTM driving. Hey, Karlovy Vary International Airport. Okay, this is the terminal. Okay, who's the statue of? They've got a statue of a guy. Okay. I'll bite. Yuri Gagarin. All right. The first man in space. No doubt he was either born around here or went to school here. He has some connection with this town. Now, let's stop playing tourist and I want to take a look at the hangars. Can't help myself. Got an underground fuel bunker over there. A couple of sailplane containers. Some pallets. Somebody's got their chairs out. This is a good place to just sit on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and watch the trees go by. You had a hay bale out here? I would have. School bus? Nope, just a truck. Just a flatbed backed in there. A couple of emergency vehicles. A Beamer. Now that at least I recognize. Baggage vehicles. Somebody out waiting for us to taxi into the right spot. Sorry, pal. Oh, reach over the button. We're going back to the main menu for a couple of minutes and change aircraft. And while it does that, I am going to take a medication break and hit the restroom. Okay. I keep promising myself I'm going to cue up some music for that, but I never do. Let's go to a basic here. That I know will get us there, and it's a fun aircraft. We'll grab our beach. Let's see. How we want to dress her. Where's my Stark Industries? There's my start. Howard Stark was here. Let's load fuel. That's more than enough. Okay. Come on, let's do this right. Come on. There, it finally gives me the option. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Go with 9 o'clock or so in the morning. Fine tune it once we're in here. Hey, Viper Strike. Is that the Lions? Let's see. Bump the mouse. Yep. Go Lions. If the Lions win, it's kind of like the Cubs winning. Look, it's the dog bites or man bites dog story. Cubs win. Cubs win. Yeah, Budapest is absolutely gorgeous if we can ever get to it. There we go. Ready to fly. I mean to start out here on the runway, but I'll take it. And get that off the screen. Even Microsoft doesn't know which way the wind's blowing. Yeah, it does. Let's see. No, don't. The sock says the wind's behind. Let's see. The wind is behind me. Well, as long as it's kind of calm like that, it shouldn't matter. Okay. Get our silly selves scooted up to the rudder pedals. Check our instruments here. Engines look good. Everything's in the green, except for the oil pressure's a little bit low. All the lights are on. Guess it's time to go get going here and head for Budapest along our little route today. Get to see some beautiful parts of Poland. Brake release. Peek over the nose. That's a thick telephone book. Do some rudder dancing. And get airborne. All right. Pull the gear in. wipe our nose a bit. Hey, we need to be heading about 120 to 150 degrees. So we'll make a quick right-hand turn here and circle around. Give us a chance to overlook this valley here. Beautiful place to tuck the buildings in. Our RPM's back a little bit. Come on, keep up. Trim up here. There's about 500 feet a minute to climb. 170 knots. That'll get us to Budapest quick. Click that nav. Autopilot on. Altitude engaged. Make sure our flaps are up. Beacon's running. Okay, coming around onto course. Still blown away with the quality of the terminal at this little airport. Beautiful. At least we're squawking an IFR European code on our transponder. Okay, looks like the AP has sniffed out the magenta line. If we want to turn our carb heat on, manifold heat. We're going to close our cowl flaps though. See how that moves up temperatures. Get stuff into the green real quick. Cylinder temperature still low. On manifold heat for a minute or two. .32 inches of manifold and 2,400 RPM. There we go. As Captain Dodge would say, let's kick this pig. change the pilot. I'm not going to take the time now to do it. So the camera where we can see the land ahead of us and under us. See why Poland is such a beautiful countryside. If we've done our navigating right, this will take us around the Alps instead of flying through them. There's a nice string of ponds. Break out the fishing poles, folks. In this case, cane poles. Cane poles and some minnows. See if we can get our feet loose and our hands free to test this thing. Push the button. That's the wrong set of buttons. Hit second to read stuff. Try this. Some tunes to scoot in the background while we coast along here. Another big stretch of forest. Always glad to see those. Whether it's game generated or not, I don't care. I like to see forest. Look at how big it stretches. We're of a mind to go for a woods hike, this would be the place to do it. Coming up on our next waypoint. If I can read this it's in Polish, of course. About line, how about that? Oh, we can manage that one. Don't know what line means in Poland, but it's the name of the airport, Line. Well, it looks like the fog has rolled in. Ugh, look at it cut. Look at it get thick. Yikes. Glad we're staying up here. See if I done the right thing and killed that off. Nope. There. Aha. At least I can kill my solo stutters. May not be able to prevent a lot of multiplayer stutters. Get rid of the local ones while I'm by myself. Can't tell if I'm being pursued or not. Turn this on just so we'll have radar. Nobody within 8 kilometers of us or miles of us. LKLN line. Just a line on the map, buddy. Barely see it down there. That's some big fog. Hey, we're 2 hours out from Budapest. Right, come on, fog, go away so we can see the terrain. The scenery is half the fun of this flight. Wanted to see clouds, I'd have stayed home. Raining here all day. Hey, carb temperatures are up into the operational range again, so that's working. All the other instruments are green. Oil temperature's still a bit low, but in the operational range. Cylinder temperature's good. Look, if this weather hasn't cleared up by the time we get to Budapest, we are definitely going to few clouds so we can look at the terrain and do the flying we need to do. I'm gonna take the chance with the way I have with the weather the past few days. Done some really dumb stuff, but been flying in the weather at home, and the VNAV and ILS have been working consistently, and I've managed to actually catch them. Don't know how many times I've had to go around and make another approach to see if I could acquire the ILS. I know there's hills down somewhere that keep poking up through the fog. Lost myself. Hey, it's either a chicken farm or a huge barracks. I'm going to put my dollars down on a chicken farm. We've got enough of them around here. I'm just glad I can't smell it. Man, that's awesome, Viper. That's great. Jamaica is great. Did you see any pirates as you were flying around down there? Those you were probably close to Port Royal. Foggy or not, that looks gorgeous. There's a barrel chasing me. Just bring the beer. That's thick fog when it blinds the lights. There's 17 miles on this leg. And we get a radar ping 500 feet below us and behind us. There's his lights. like the fog is starting to break up a little bit. No, I hope the real Poland isn't covered in. It is kind of like the game's presented. It's not covered in snow today. There's the edge of the fog bank. On one edge, hills poking through. Wave at the factory down there. Don't know if that's a bush strip or just somebody cutting their farm field weird. Nothing on the map says airport. The hood just go with somebody cutting the grass weird. Yay. Go away, fog. May not be any lakes big enough to put a boat into around here, but with waterways like this and ponds and small lakes like this, you don't need a big boat. You don't need a boat. Fish from the banks. There's a farm that's actually got a fish pond in it. Take an unfortunate yawn. Oh, that's pretty. No junkyards. Nice rural living out here. That would be really nice, Viper Strike, especially in Krakow. I know there's a castle in the center of Krakow that, well, it played a prominent role in my role-playing life when I was a younger man. This is the kind of stuff you miss when you're flying at 30,000 feet. The more you see inside a flight simulator, you realize how much the world looks just like home. The roofing of the house may change, but the way everybody lives is the same. Yes, that's the one, Viper. You know which one it is. It's up on the hill in the center of town. At one point, I had a really good detailed plan drawn out for that castle. We had the floor plans, and then between moves and some things we'd rather not go into, a lot of the paperwork got lost. I've managed to keep all my first edition books, but a lot of the paperwork has disappeared along the way. And 3 times I've been an idiot and loaned out rule books that have never come home. I keep buying them again and being a trusting sort, lending them out. Then they don't come back. All I can ask is that whoever borrows them enjoys them and actually plays the game. We just overflew one of our airports. Almost missed it. Didn't see it on the map. Oh, that was there. Winds are starting to pick up a little bit. Well, they don't pick up as much as they did the other day flying with Allison Johnson. I have my damage on, and I had a pocket of wind shear hitting in the storm, and 100 miles short of the goal got killed by the wind shear. So don't tell me it's not modeled in this sim. It is. Now there's an ancient plot of land area right back there at that little town. Bet you some of those little bitty pieces of land have been in families for generations. I guess it's just a little boy in me, but I would really love to run a Leopard 2 over this. Or an Abrams with the governor taken off of the transmission. Just somebody say, okay, full tank of gas, go get them. Definitely be a case of buckle up. We're going for a ride. Just one would be fun, but the thought of 30 of them running together in a pack just scares me to death. I found the perfect spot. Right up there along that river bank or lake bank or whatever it is. Break out the cane poles, get a can of worms, have a bucket. Just if you catch anything, fine. If you don't, sleep on the lake bank. Enjoy the summer sun, or even the late autumn sun. You know, we used to be out in the field till late October. There's actually an airplane behind those lights. Its LOD is working good. There's a railroad track under us. Now that needs a choo-choo. See it snake around there where two tracks come together. There's even a little railroad bridge over on that river. Looks more like a canal. All this beauty marred by a couple of cooling towers. Oh, goodness. I don't know if we'll pass close enough for a good look at it. Well, the barrel is pretty. Ooh, crop circles. There's a farmer that's been having fun in his field. Yeah, it's Colonel Fork if that's the actual paint he's buying today. Oh, that's beautiful. Watch out for the power lines. They're dangerous. That's a big plant. Okay, 10 more miles on this leg. Not going to go so far south into Poland we run into the mountains. We're going to start to turn a little bit toward the east. That almost looks like a drive-in down there. That's a tradition that I hope stays alive. We've got one. We've got two actually local. Well, if you call 30 or 40 miles local, we've got one up in Savannah, Tennessee, which is about 35 to 40 miles north of us. About 20 miles south of us in Russellville, we've got another drive-in theater. Start to pick up some more hills again. It's not boring ocean to look at. I like this kind of terrain. Seems like every kilometer or so there's a town or a village in a wide spot in the road. These are the kind of places, all you need, you don't need a car, you need a bicycle. Get in here and check our fuel levels. Still plenty of fuel left. Well, we just overflew a castle. Right next to this airport, too. Handy, that. Not the longest runway in the world, but serviceable. Pretty good sized road close by. Just outside of a pretty good sized city. Maybe a little bit bigger than my own hometown. Now this, okay, we went from hills to flat, no time at all. Nice long stretch. The stretch of our legs here, 83 miles. Doing about, we've got a ground speed of 163 knots. And an indicated of about 165, so no wind to be speaking of. All you can do is just be patient. We'll get there. I gotta admit, I saw the clips and watched it over the weekend or yesterday. Somebody really missed their opportunity in not having the B-17 ready for flight sim. All that free advertising that was in Masters of the Air, and they weren't there to capitalize. Hopefully they'll try to get it out as quick as they can and try to catch a ride on the coattails of all the attention. Although I'm hoping that in future episodes they show me some stuff I haven't seen before. Now, the characters and the actors have changed, but the events are still the same. It's a largely mechanistic kind of fighting, but it's still very brutal and very sobering. And for all the distance between the parties involved, it was very up close and personal. Okay, now there's a lake we might need a boat on. We could definitely land a seaplane on that boat, on that lake. Just land parallel to this shore, and you've got a nice built water runway. Oh, that's so pretty. How about them apples? My bad camera work, not his bad flying. I'm probably going to need one more pit stop before we get to Budapest. I want to check my map and see just how far we've got to go. 1, 2, 3 more legs. This isn't quite the longest. The last leg's 94 clicks, or 94 miles. This place has got plenty of ponds and lakes, that's for sure. Not going to go without water up here. glad seeing so much forestation. Even though the game does have a propensity to add trees wherever it feels like it. Let me reach over here and we've still got such a long distance to go. I'm going to go ahead and make a pit stop while we do this. See if I can get something to work here. I don't have crap as usual. It figures I can't read it because it's too far away. Keep it on standby just in case. Get the cameras closer here. Pick up the sounds of these radios a little bit better. All right. Wander off to the bathroom for a couple of minutes. Back. And at least back as we can get. I like what the medication does for me, but I hate while it's doing it. See if I can click the button. time with in the background. I think we found some more hills. They're not big, but they're there. This looks like home. Actually, this looks better than home. I gotta admit, I do like the way the reflections in the aluminum shine. I wouldn't be surprised if we run over another castle along the way here. Poland full of them. But you gotta look at the terrain to figure out where. Okay, if I was a knight, where would I build a castle at? For businesses and thriving communities, all you gotta do is find a. Ooh, there's a high school. There's a soccer field in the middle of town. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a college campus of some kind. Recognize several farm silos back there too. Identifying some of the stuff under you at times with the way the computer draws buildings. Trying to interpret is just plain crazy. What was that? That's kind of easy. That's a cell phone tower. Or actually, it's a microwave relay station. There's bound to be a cell phone tower here somewhere. Probably close by, too. Well, that is the place to put a microwave relay tower, up on the top of a ridge. There's so many places that look like Roman villas from up here. It's amazing. Speaking of Roman villas, there's no telling what you'll see from up here because it is satellite imagery. Able to see the ruins of a villa underneath the field. villa or an old fort. This would have been out there on the very edge of the empire. Got rid of most of my stutters, but there's still a few there. All in that scenery. I have a big fingerprint on my monitor. I need to clean that off. Well, there's something under that field. It's not just farmers' plow lines. At least I can reach over in time and turn the volume down. Them's just tractor tracks. This is where flying low over England can be really a fun thing to do. Can you find the treasure hidden under the field? Looks like another power plant up ahead. LKNA is off to our north a little bit. And we're down to an hour to go to get to Budapest. Yay! Okay, everybody gets a magazine, a sandwich, and a soft drink in the back. Pull out their tray tables. There you go. The lights on for them. not going to fly directly over it, but we should get close enough to get a good look at it. Judging by the fact that it's got some old smokestacks too, I'd say this is a coal-fired steam generator plant. And it being wintertime and there being 5 cooling towers in use over there, at least 5, I'd say they're generating a lot of power for the homes around this area. If that ain't enough, we're going to fly right over a hydroelectric plant. Yep, there's the powerhouse. There's the airport. It is a good-sized power plant, whether it's coal or nuclear. That's a big place. Uh-oh. Look what we found. We're looking for Roman villas. Instead, we find a high-altitude jet in the satellite photo. And his shadow. See the contrails coming out behind him? Okay, I'll screenshot that. That's funny. Look how far those contrails stretch out behind him. Getting back into some hilly country. Little creek's carved a little bit of a valley for itself below us. Let's see, where have we passed into Hungary yet? Not yet. That's still a bit to the south. We are still definitely in Poland. There's a nice little bridge. It's got a footbridge beside it, too. That's a little bit more detail than we usually get for bridges. was a floodplain at some point in the past. We're coming up on the edge of something. Looks like it's a photogrammetry computer generated edge. All of a sudden, the trees look a lot better. Yep, that's photogrammetry down there. Thing is, I can't think of any big cities that we're close to. Ah, that's where we're at. We're not in Poland. We're in Czechoslovakia. Or what is it, the Czech, not the Czech Republic, but near the city of Brno. And that is probably the gun manufacturing site over there. Should be one of the biggest factories in town. Matter of fact, several of the items in my collection were made right there. That explains why it got the photogrammetry. Good grief. Need to stop saving the brandy and start drinking it. There's a nice highway. If I were flying in the United States and looking down at that, I'd say it's either an IKEA or a Walmart. And you go from city to rural areas in no time flat. Matter of fact, we're flying over our Waypoint Airport now. Almost looks like a solar farm. There's a racetrack. And judging by the obstacles, I'd say it's for horses, not for cars. Maybe steeplechase is still a really popular sport here. and we're going 60 miles southeast. What's the name of the airport down there? M.R. Stefanik. Looks like the city's name is Vracuna. And as usual, we've bitten off more with our flight plan than we should have been able to chew, but I really want to show off Budapest, so I'm going to plow on there. Next week is a lot shorter. I didn't just sit on my laurels while I did laundry last week. I did make up a flight plan for the next show. Hopefully we kept it a little bit more contained. We picked up a little bit of a headwind. We're showing about 165 indicated, and we're only doing 160 through the air, or ground speed. That means we've got a little bit of a headwind. Nothing to do but out here but cruise and look at the pretty scenery, because it is gorgeous here. Colonel Fork is still with us. He's being patient. Of course, he's climbed up into the sun to bounce on something that's unsuspecting. The biplane, you got to take every advantage you can. That's just a beautiful piece of scenery. The lake with just a little mountain in the middle of nowhere. We're passing over just a few hills, not much. Flatten out here again here in a few miles. Just this here, looking at all the satellite images still, it is just mind-numbing how gorgeous this is. And it's, with the game, it's open to everybody. No borders, no passports, just go. Yeah, that says Roman Villa. Big orange roof, square, low parapet around the house. No, we're not Roman. No, 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 no. You must have us confused with someone else. There's somebody's tractor out in the field. See the dust cloud behind him? Thank you, satellite imagery, for catching life as it should be. I don't know whether it's an aqueduct or just a. It's too small to be a canal. Now that's a straight piece of road. That's a big enough road. It should be on the map. I think it is. Yeah, it's going where we're going. It just meanders around quite a bit, little bit more. Now, somebody with some thinking laid that town out. You can tell where the fields are low. Those are no tractor zones. Not unless you've got a second tractor to pull the first one out. And then there's the rail yards. A big rail yard. And from city back to the forest. Just like that. The highway's off to our left, but the railroad, there's a railroad line that's running underneath us. All the satellite effects or artifacts I've seen on the scenery today, I expect to find a train. They've done remarkably, mostly well with live traffic on the roads. How about some trains on the tracks? Just keep them on the tracks. Don't let them be running up and down the highway. Well, at least I'm not in a spacesuit. My ear itches, I can scratch it. Well, that's handy. There's a road that runs right beside the river here. The road cuts back into the tree who's over there. Looks like it's a park area. If it was, it's a beautiful spot for one. Okay, those are a little bit more than just hills up there. Let's hope we've got enough altitude to go over them. Where are we at? We're at a little bit over 3,000 feet. We're not going to mess with it unless we have to. Which means for a while we're going to pull our head in out of the window and pay attention to the airplane. We found our road again. Swung back to the south and found us, I should say. Another 22 nautical miles to, then we're going to promptly run out of Slovakia. So if you ever want to run guns between Brno and Budapest down here, as long as nobody's checking your cargo real closely, you can probably move a couple of dozen cases right quick. there's another airport that we'll be passing really close to, LZMC. Right at the foot of those hills up there. There's a piece of land that says military reservation. That are one heck of a development project. Now those are crop circles. Keep it up, kids. It's the strangest aircraft range I've ever seen. Pretty good scoring markers. There's the airport. That's a nice little airport there. A little industrial park. I do believe 3,000 feet will get us over these hills. Watch this shrink up here. This AGL on the 750. Watch it shrink. '24 to '22 to '21. Now we're down to 1900. I do believe this is 8 miles to the last waypoint before Budapest. We'll probably be keeping that river off to our right the whole way down the rest of the way. there's our friend the highway. At least one of them. It's a pretty good sized city here. Okay, they do the same stuff we do. They cut a clear path through the forest for their power lines. We were bad boys. That used to be one of our favorite hunting spots. We had to have a four-wheeler to go get the deer, but still a great spot for hunting. This is a goodly sized airport here. 2 runways. Pretty good sized terminal. Pretty good, a big tower. Nice clearly painted markings from up here. There's the VOR. Somebody's done some landscaping. You can see where the river used to run, or a creek or something. A watershed. Last stretch. Well, there you go. A round center of town. A well thought out neighborhood. I think sooner or later we're going to have to do an archaeological quest with this simulator and see if we can find evidence of a lost villa or something over southern France or northern Spain. Map here. There are lots of little airports on our way down here. LZKL will pass close aboard off to our left. A little bit farther away on our right will be LHPR. It's on the other side of the river. I'm going to have to answer at least one more call to the restroom before we get to Budapest. This is where something like the bladder buddy would really come in handy. Need to take that medication either way earlier or a different time of the day, like after the screen. Well, go ahead and take care of it. Yeah, here we are, making our best of favorite approach here, and we're muted. But he asked the Sir Murphbot who was the biggest skidget. I am. I outrank Murph. Passed over the shiny palace that attracted my attention the first time through here. D'Souza, thank you for pointing out that I was still muted after my last trip to the camp. Climbed up to 900 feet. That's. Let's try to get lower again, back down to 500 at least. At least I'm getting a break and we're not covered in smog or fog. We're actually getting to see all this stuff. Got to watch out. The power lines may become visible at the last second. And the river takes the harsh bend. Now, if I remember right, the giant co-op is right around this bend. Okay, buddy, I brought an airplane. I need 400 pounds of piggy punch and 300 pounds of rolled oats and 200 pounds of crushed corn. There it is, up there. Good thing we're in the outskirts of Budapest. fuel's starting to get to become an issue. Here's the co-op. Like I said, this one's huge. Hey, the Hungarians know not to build on a floodplain. Hay bales off to our right-hand side. Big round ones. Nice photogrammetry co-op. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the frames take a dive as we get into Budapest. Thank you. We just follow the river down here until we get to the airport, and we'll hang a left and take her in for a landing. Hopefully a nice, gentle one. And mind you, this is just the outskirts of Budapest. We haven't even got to the city yet. That's up there on the horizon. Go a lot lower, but we're not going to mess with those power lines. Been there and done that. Got swatted. Looked like a fly in a spider's web. See, 400 feet. Let's get up a little bit. Those are a bit of wires I don't want to tangle with. Pass over some barge traffic. Uh-oh, fancy bridge. They're like our river bridges. They're not meant to be flown under. That means we can't fly over it really close to the top. Nope. If you had a narrow wingspan, you could fly down it. The spans look to be far enough apart. At least 4 lanes wide. More barges. Doesn't totally kill our frames. We'll go ahead into Budapest and then loop back up here to the airport. There's a much more typical river bridge. Come on, frames, behave yourself. There's the hot air balloon. This was the site of the first hot air balloon expedition. Nice castle down there. Right in the middle of that island. Looks more like a memorial than an actual castle. There's somebody's palace. And there's a Ferris wheel. And a government building off to our left. Another fortress on our right. Football stadium. Football. Not football. Football. Looks like it's still under construction. At least when the picture was taken. The airport's only supposedly 7 miles away. There's Colonel Fork over it. We'll do a little fly past and then circle back in. Start slowing down here. We'll go past and land on, what is that? One of the twos. Oh, 3-1 right. I think that's the one Colonel Fork landed on. Looks like it. Okay. Gear coming down. Come on, frames, behave. Sometimes there's a little bit, you can have too much scenery involved. We're pretty much parallel on the airport's right in a left-hand pattern. Gonna go past the highway and start our turn. Begin our gradual descent. Reach over there. Give us 1 notch of flaps. Start our turn. Nice, gentle turn. A 1,000 feet above ground. Continue our descent and continue the turn. Have to duck. Look out that window. Oh, there's the light. Dodge the cranes. $700, continue the turn. You have the lights. Okay, power back. $300. 95 knots. A little bit more to the right. There we go. Lined up pretty good. And chop throttles. Just let her float in. Thank you. Get off the screen. At this point, I don't care about photogrammetry streaming. I want to park the airplane. Everything else is still streaming pretty good, so well, welcome to Budapest Airport anyway. Taking the Alpha taxiway. Going to go park over by Colonel Fort. Sharp turn, sharp turn. chicane to the left, and then chicane to the right. Correct our flaps. Brakes. And all stop. Set the parking brake. Engines off. And everything is off. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. Welcome to Budapest. It was a long trip to get here, but I hope it paid off, even though my mouth was muted. You didn't have to put up with my noise. Hopefully, the music made up for it. Right now, I'm just going to wish everybody a good night and thank you for coming. I'm not even going to try to raid anybody tonight. Good night, everybody.